Welcome back everyone to the Moneycontrol live stream. You are watching Markets with Santo and CJ, a place where the old school meets the new school, the risk takers meet the cautious, with the markets at the center of it all. By the way, I am Chiranjeevi, but you can call me CJ, and with me is Santo.
Hi, I'm Santosh Nair. I've been tracking the markets for almost 25 years. And CJ, let me tell you, having tracked the markets for that long, right from the time when traders used to trade in a ring to now when most of the trades are happening at the click of a mouse, there's nothing like old school or new school, right? There's just one school. The rules haven't really changed over the years.
I beg to differ, Santo. A new wave of retail investors are rewriting the rules of the game. And on this show, I will show you how.
There's also a saying in the market, I think, which you should be mindful of, which is that new investors often learn old market lessons, and I will show you how.
We'll keep arguing on this every day at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. But for now, let's take stock of the day's action, shall we?
Yep. So on this show, we will talk about bond yields rising and how that is hurting sentiment for equities. And we'll also discuss stock takes by me and CJ. And we'll also tell you about the price anomaly in shares of Veranda listing and why they happened.
Yeah.
How was your day, CJ?
Well, in the morning, we talked about how the Qs are not looking pretty. The market is likely to open on a negative load, and it did open like that. And it has played out to the script, Santo. I mean, it's a sorry start to a week.
Why sorry? There are sellers also. Anyway.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, I was looking forward to a good start to my week, but it seems like both the Nifty and Sensex are all set to close on a negative note. We have seen selling largely on the IT space, which has become the biggest laggard right now. But there is hope. There is hope. The Nifty mid cap and Nifty small cap 100 indices were both positive. So yeah, I mean, it seems that retail investors are having a good day. I don't know about large cap loving investors on your side.
Yes, CJ, let me tell you one thing. Now, I think what's happening right now here is that equity investors still are not understanding the implications of rising interest rates. Now, see, bond yields on the 10-year government paper has crossed 7%. So, interest rates, when they rise, it typically spells bad news for equity markets. But what is cushioning the fall right now is that a lot of money is just flowing into mutual funds. And a lot of that money is just making its way into small and mid-cap stocks.
1 second. Typically, but it's not always the case that rising interest rates are bad for the market. Let me jog back your memory to 2005 and 2007 market, when both the US Federal Reserve and the RBI were on the path of raising interest rates. And we had one of the most sensational bull markets we have seen in India.
See, the initial part, when the initial part, interest rate hikes don't really affect equities, but too much of a good thing, at some point begins to hurt. So just don't
You're
go
giving
by
my
past
mom's argument to me. Nah. Anyway.
So now
you're
that
talking about mutual fund flows. Yeah, and I know, I agree totally. I mean, of course, small caps and mid caps are probably going up and are being buttressed by what's the sort of, 28,000 crores of inflows we saw in March.
And 12,000 crores of record SIP flows as well.
Exactly. So, yeah, of course, fund managers are, laden with cash right now, and they have to invest.
Soon they may have a problem of what to buy, considering that there are only few investment grade stocks to put money into.
Always so cautious, always so cautious. Anyway, the market's update is, taken care of. Now, are there any stocks that really caught your fancy today?
Yes. So first on my radar is Ambuja Cements. Big jump in stock price, close to about 7%. Now, it's a bit surprising because this is not an environment where you would be actually buying cement stocks.
Surprising?
Yes. Rising input costs have been pressuring their margins. The good thing for cement companies right now is that they're still able to hike prices. But to what extent will they be able to pass on the price hikes remains to be seen.
But they are passing on, aren't they?
They are passing on, but as I said, the demand could hurt, could be affected at some point. In April, they've already done that. Many companies have raised prices.
Yeah. My only point here is that, a lot of the analysts, if you speak to them, they seem very gung-ho on demand prospects going ahead. Because let's remember, we have still not seen the sweet part of the capex cycle yet. Private capex cycle as well as government capex as well is still to pick up, to the peaks that probably market is envisaging in the coming 2 to 3 years.
Good arguments on paper. Let's see what happens on the real world. Oberoi Realty made a good comeback today. Stock up 4%. It was among the big losers on Friday because its Q4 updates fell short of market expectations. One of its major, there were fewer project launches by Oberoi Realty in Q4. That's one of the reasons. But going forward, analysts are hopeful that this trend will change. In fact, Edelweiss has said that its Thane project, which will be launched shortly, that could be a major driver of its bottom line, and has maintained its buy target on.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably think that Edelweiss has probably got it right, given the sort of sales figures that we are seeing it from Oberoi Realty's competitors. It's only natural that probably this company might also, catch up with them. Who knows?
Third on my list is Hindustan Aeronautics. Now, again, this rise is a bit surprising, considering that the company's CMD was on the CNBC TV18 channel last week and said that for FY23 revenue growth is expected to be at 6 to 7%. Now, that's not very huge, but I guess given the overall geopolitical situation right now, defense stocks are a big hit with investors, which could perhaps explain why we are seeing a sustained uptrend in Hindustan.
Momentum stock
Exactly.
on your radar. Wow.
I think
seems like you are also expanding your horizon.
Oh yes, one should just look at opportunities, I would say.
Oh, okay.
ICICI Bank. Now, this is many analysts are bullish on the stock in the banking space. Overall sentiment for banking sector has been very positive. Good credit growth numbers announced by most banks in the Q4 updates. So ICICI Bank too has been quite firm. It was up 1% today in a weak market. Overall sentiment for the stock remains bullish. And lastly, we have JSPL, which is again a hit with many brokerages. In fact, on the steel spaces, most brokerages are recommending the stock. Steel sector in general had a good run during the fourth quarter, and while the raw material prices have been increasing a bit, the general feeling is that the softening of coking coal prices could spell good news for margins.
So, but no prospect of demand destruction here, like you were talking about cement companies.
Oh well, I'm not very sure about that.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
That's good that I caught you on something.
Okay, that was from my plate. CJ, what about yours?
So, I like to draw your attention to Monte Carlo Fashions. It's a small cap apparel company which has come out with a great quarterly update. Sales rose 46% on a year-on-year basis, and the management is quite confident that this demand trend is going to continue going forward. So that is something that I'm really looking out for.
Is it because millennials have finally decided to stop working out of home and for a change go back to office? And
no, Santo, is not only the millennials, it's everybody. All of us are going back to offices, and all of us are now have grown out of our old clothes of 2 years ago. So we all need new wardrobes, and that is why probably the stock is up 8% today, reflecting the the optimism that analysts and the markets have for it. That said, Adani Green, Adani Group stocks have been a rage across the market, but Adani Green, the past 2 sessions alone has moved about 10 to 11%. Today it was up 8%, and technical analysts are seeing scope for even more gains going ahead.
Just wait a minute there, CJ. I think this has to do with the general fad for anything which is green or renewables or solar. That seems to be the big buzzword.
Okay.
And I'm sure it's millennial investors or Robin Hoods, as you call it, who are driving the uptrend in these stocks.
2 years, Santo, 2 years of rally, 415% gains in 2 years. I don't think for a generation supposedly suffering to attention deficit, 2 years is a long time to be a fad. So
but I'm not sure if it's the same investors who invested 2 years are still there, or it's a new set. But
whatever
anyway.
you say, whatever floats your boat. But yeah, coming back to Adani Green, analysts are suggesting that not only on the technical side, but from a fundamental point of view, as the company keeps on announcing more projects, we are likely to see more re-rating on the stock or more upside on the earnings side. So that is Adani Green. Godrej Phillips. So of course, Santo touched upon ITC in the morning and how ITC doing so well, but it's pure Godrej Phillips was a rage today in the market, 11% higher, and it seems that market is expecting another good quarter of Q4 earnings, given that the reopening is happening, people are going back to offices, and a lot of freedom. People are getting a lot of freedom to do what they usually would not.
Smoking also seasonal. You just mentioned that Q4 is likely to be good. So is there any reason why they
smoke
it is
more because
the
past
quarter?
Yeah, because this quarter we have seen probably the full-on reopening of the economy, and especially offices. I mean, even though lockdown started ending towards July, August, offices were not really fully functioning. And at home, or maybe people would know that sometimes it's difficult to,
I think it's more of a copycat syndrome right now. ITC is doing good. The people are thinking that, okay, tobacco stocks are in demand. Let's just go and buy the next tobacco stock.
Anyway, copycat or not, SMS Life Sciences. it was locked at 20% upper circuit after the market opened. We touched upon it in the morning how US FDA has cleared one of their bulk drug units, and how the management is looking at expanding its footprint in the US market. Although the gains have come off a little bit, it's around trading right now around 15 to 16%, but a really good show on today from that stock. And lastly, IndiaMart Intermesh, internet platform company, stock rose about 3% on the back of strong volumes and strong delivery volumes as well, if you look at the NSE data.
Wait, but isn't it the same stock which is like almost down 50% from its highs? It was a star performer last year, and it's now quoting at half that price.
So people decided to realize some of their paper profits. I mean, it was one of the booming stocks of 2021.
People are realizing, but nobody else seemed to be getting in.
Yeah, not right now, but it seems from today, it seems like maybe it's a change of trend today. Who knows? I mean, the Q4 earnings likely to be good for the company. It's a B2B internet platform service provider, so it's possible with the reopening of the economy and the manufacturing space doing well, we might see some better growth numbers or earnings numbers from this company in Q4. So those were the stocks on my radar, Santo.
And well, now it's the time for that segment.
That you love the most.
Exactly, you said that.
In case you missed it. Huh.
So, in case you missed it, it's a segment where we look at some of the interesting trends in the market.
Yeah.
And today we had a big anomaly in the prices of Veranda Learnings, which listed.
What was happening there?
Yes, so the big difference in prices between the BSE and the NSE. On the BSE, it was quoting around 163 odd rupees, while on the NSE, it was around 131.
Seriously?
Yes. Now, the simple thing to do would be to probably go to the NSE and pick up some shares and sell it on.
I would assume so.
But because of the SEBI guidelines, basically, which restrict that now, because they thought there was too much speculation happening in IPO stocks in the initial day, they put this new rule whereby stocks are in T2T. So you can't arbitrage between exchanges. You can't buy on one exchange and go and sell on the other, or the other way
And so
around.
therefore this differential remained there, out in the open in front of everyone.
Yes, so what traders are saying is that probably, given that there was so much of a price differential, exchanges probably should have coordinated with each other, because many investors may have lost out on a big deal because of selling on NSE, where the prices were far lower, 131 rupees as compared to 163 odd on the BSE, and there were no sellers for the stock after that on the NSE, just buyers. Yeah.
Wow. So some very strange moves on Veranda listing.
Yes, and there's a lot of speculation as to why this happened, because see, this is not for the first time that a stock is getting listed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the price discovery mechanism is there for all stocks. Typically, usually they are pretty much in line.
And we spoke about it in the morning how the grey market premium was suggesting a good 10% sort of gains on listing price of around 137. So I mean, one would have expected a very good day, but the company...
I think here are probably some, as you would call them, old school people at play who've been around in the market for a long time. So one of the conspiracy theories is that somebody did put a big block of share for sale on the NSE. That probably must have scared out many of the sellers. See, HNIs who bet on IPOs, typically they do so using borrowed money. As soon as the opening price is set, their positions are automatically liquidated by the NBFCs from which they have borrowed the money. So in this case, what would have happened is, when a big block of share was put for sale, maybe many of these smaller guys would have panicked and then started offering their quotes much lower. As a result, that when the pre-open price for NSE was set. One more thing here. Now it's also very likely that the person or the people who put those bids for those large blocks must have cancelled their bids at the last minute and then reversed
at the last minute.
Yes, that's wow. You create a certain situation in the market, and then suddenly you
they fooled the market basically.
It looks like that. So which could possibly explain, we are not sure if this is the case, but this is
one theory.
This is one of the theories being which you get to hear in the market.
So this is spectacular, but anyway, so anything that you will be watching out for tomorrow when we meet here?
Yes, TCS numbers, those will have a big bearing on sentiment, not just for IT stocks but for the market as a whole. Already
we are expecting the numbers in a few hours, I guess.
I think so, in an hour or so. Heavy selling in IT stocks already seen, and that comes as a bit of a surprise. CJ, this morning you were saying that deal pipeline is strong, all is good, and what happened then there?
What can I say? Market is not mercy to my opinion, at least. So market has its own way of doing things.
That's again an old school theory that there is a price for everything, and what the market is trying to indicate is that maybe tech stocks have gotten ahead of themselves.
Have your day in the sun, Santo. Have your day.
So much of what is expected, probably even if the numbers are good for the fourth quarter, what the market is trying to say is that the prices may have already been factored in, and which is why they are booking profits.
But I will still feel that probably think that that probably market will await the commentary that the management is going to give, TCS management, given that it's the largest IT company by market capitalization, and probably we have seen the selling today, but maybe if the outlook is good and positive, maybe things could change tomorrow morning. You never know.
Yes, with the market even.
Sorry.
I mean that's quite natural. In the market things keep changing so rapidly. As they say, today's information makes today's prices, tomorrow's information makes tomorrow's prices.
Wow.
So there shouldn't be any surprise if sentiment changes very
That's
dramatically.
one thing that I would like to learn from you, an old school guy, quoting like you were Shakespeare or something. Anyway, but of course, apart from TCS, we also have two members of the Fed, US Federal Reserve rate setting panel that are going to be talking today. It's most likely that they will talk about inflation and on rate hikes, and possibly about the size of the balance sheet reduction. Remember that there are talks that probably the Fed may announce a reduction in its balance sheet in the June meeting. So of course market will watch out for that. And later this week, Infosys is going to come out with its Q4 earnings. So it's not only TCS, but of course Infosys' commentary that is also going to be crucial. But yeah,
doesn't look like a pretty picture for IT stocks from the look of it.
We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens tomorrow morning, Santo.
Yes, with that, let's quickly look at how the market is doing at this point. The Nifty is down by about 103 points.
It's worse off from where we started.
Yes, the selling pressure appears to have intensified a bit.
And now even the banks have gotten into it. I mean, it seems like even the banks are now feeling the selling pressure at this point.
Yeah, Nifty Bank is down about 125 points,
right.
So that too is beating there. The Sensex is below the 59,000 mark at this point, 58,994, so below a psychological mark. So
yeah, and IT remains the biggest laggard.
So it does look finally that market is taking heed of rising interest rates.
Oh, now market is taking heed of rising interest rates.
It has been doing that since morning, and only now I think the realization
Remember
is
Friday we had a very good session, okay? So it could be just some profit booking, as you keep on saying, it's not always bad to take some money off the table. Anyway, with that, please post your feedbacks to the comment section below and on the hashtags that are on your screen. We'll see you tomorrow morning 9 a.m. sharp. Till then, stay tuned to Moneycontrol and the Moneycontrol app for rest of your updates. Thank you so much for watching.
Good evening and have a nice day.